Good morning. Hey, you join me on site at another one of our installations. And today we are installing a system for someone rather special. She is the only woman in history to break the 400-meter hurdles world record and Olympic record, winning four major titles, including the Commonwealth, European, World, and Olympic gold medals. Sally Gunnell.
That's correct. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting us to your home to film today.
Pleasure.
We really appreciate it. Obviously, we've got the scaffolding going.
I know it's all happening, which is great.
Lots of noise in the background. So if we pick that up on camera, then you'll have to excuse us at home, folks. Sally, could you tell us, before we jump into sort of the solar and why and everything else, could you tell us a little bit about your history for the audience, maybe for those younger viewers that don't know, but what events did you win at?
Yeah.
Where were they held?
Yeah. So my sort of really good years, I had 4 or 5 amazing years of winning all those championships that you said. Obviously, it's a long journey and you have to work up to that. But my Olympics I won, which is obviously the ultimate. In any athlete, that's what you get out of bed for every morning. That's what you train for. Was in Barcelona in 1992. And then the following year was a World Championships, and I was pushed by the American girl and broke the world record and won the gold medal there in Stuttgart. And then came the European and the Commonwealth. Yeah, 4 amazing years. And I look back at it as a real highlight, obviously, of my life, but still very honoured to have achieved that.
And thinking back, because I remember watching the 92 Olympics, I think I shared with you previously, I was a big basketball fan growing up. So I followed the American Dream Team Olympics. But it was yourself who won the golds in the 400s, and it was Linford Christie, I believe you won the end side of things, and you were one of the captains of them.
He did, and he weighed the first, and all of a sudden I thought, wow, hang on a minute, he's just won the gold medal. I'm the women's team captain, so there's only one colour I could win. Yeah, and he was very inspirational, and that to have had him a couple of days beforehand, you're like, I can do this, and just gave me that little edge that I needed.
Awesome. And you were in both event, and in the event in 92 and then again in 93, you were against the American Farmer Patrick, Sandra Farmer Patrick.
That's it.
Both of which they were really close to won races. How much competition was it?
Yeah, it was. She was my main rival, and it's great to have that sort of rivalry.
Yeah.
She used to be in a lot of like the races leading up to. We used to have all these top Grand Prix, but when it came to a major championships, which was always my focus, it was always about winning those medals and seeing what you could actually achieve and to want to be remembered almost. So she used to get very angry with me when I think that she was favourite going into a lot of the championships, and especially in that World Championships where we pushed each other. She broke the world record as well. Yeah. And that's what it took, really.
Absolutely.
For, to win that gold medal, had to be a world record. Yeah.
I tipped to tell the audience about the kind of, because I watched the run up to the race where you both broke the world record. She in second place, but you took the gold in that same race there. You were focused the way you were at the start of that race. You were incredibly focused, and it almost looked like I've got this in the bag. Whereas when you looked at the body language of the other individuals on that track, you looked like you were standing there with that. I've already won this before you started.
Yeah, there's a lot. You have to learn a lot to get to that stage. And I always say the last piece of the jigsaw as such was about self-belief, mind. And I just knew that I'd done everything I could. I trained as hard as I could, but still got to go and do it. But I'd done a lot of mental preparation, visualization, and I knew what I had to do on that day. I knew what the stride pattern, and I just went into this autopilot, which is a powerful tool almost that we all can use. And I think probably as much as 70% on the day is in the mind. Because someone like Sandra, she was probably faster than me. She was probably stronger. Technically, she wasn't better, but I beat her very much on, I knew what I had to do on that day, and I'd worked hard mentally for 12 months for that. So, that's what got me to the start finish line.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that. And so your athletics career, obviously, you're phenomenally successful there. But would you mind sharing with us about growing up, your background before athletics? What led you into athletics, and what ignited that fire for competition?
I grew up on a farm in Chigwell in Essex,
Right.
and I had two older brothers. So I think there was a bit of a competitive edge going on there to keep up with them. But I also spent my whole youth, and they've done quite a lot of research of what makes a champion. And one of them is how active you are as a child. So I spent my early days running up the field to see, my dad on
Yeah.
the tractor, the combine, played outside
Yeah.
on bikes and running around from that
Right.
really young age. So I think that was part of it. And my dad had amazing work ethics, and he'd be up, we're milking the cows at 5 o'clock in the morning and
Absolutely.
still on the track. So I think there was a bit of that. You've got to work hard to get those results. And yeah, and just had parents that would drive me to the track
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
take me to competitions, and just very lucky to have that sort of support and a great club nearby of Essex ladies. So I think
Right.
that really helped as well.
Awesome. So, at what age did you start competing then at Essex Ladies?
I joined the club when I was 12. I got spotted by my coach, who was my coach throughout my whole career at 14, and he'd trained Daley Thompson to his gold medal. So he all of a sudden wanted me in the group. So I was a bit like, wow. That's when the dedication started, really, because he was based at Crystal Palace. So 3 times a week, I would travel up to Crystal Palace, over an hour away.
Yeah.
Come home, try and do my homework at the end of the day at 10 o'clock. And yeah, but I was happy to do that. So that real dedication happened.
We've talked about what led up to athletics there, Sally. What about since?
Yeah,
And you're-
well, it's a tricky one because your life just stops like that. And every day has been so disciplined with training twice a day and what you eat and everything. It's wow, what now?
Yeah.
And it is like a whole chapter of your life shuttle. And a new one sort of opening. And yeah, I think what I did in my athletics, I set myself new goals, new challenges.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a mum. So I had my first little boy, Finley, within the first year of retiring. That was really important to me. And we got involved in all sorts of different things. I worked for the BBC 10 years doing all the commentating. I then have got very much into the speaking sort of circuit. So yeah, I would sound like everybody else now.
Yeah.
Sort of balancing a bit of work, trying to bring 3 boys I've got now up. Yeah, my husband's really involved in athletics as well. So we're still very close to it and help their top athletes as well. So yeah, just working mum and working the household together and
Absolutely.
trying to pay the bills.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
That's where, I think that leads us on nicely to you starting to look into Sunday, because I think like a lot of folks, when you originally spoke to us there, you've noticed the bills going up. First and foremost, now since retiring, as you said, you're a mum.
Yeah.
You're used to running a household, the cost of running a household, the cost of running a business as well. How have you noticed things for yourselves over the last few years going with energy prices? What sort of differences have you noticed in your bills?
They've just gone up so much. And it's funny because we've moved to this new house 4 years ago because the old house was costing too much almost. That was one of the reasons for moving. And we wanted to get the bills down. And obviously everything, COVID and everything went up. So with Leeds, we did move where it is. But it's, I've still got 5 of us in the house, 2 girlfriends as well. There's a lot of showers. I run an electric car because I do care about the environment. It's very important to me. Grow my own vegetables and I do drive my electric car and I'm very conscious of, when I put the washing on and all of these sorts of things. So it's a very important part of my life. And I think part of that is because I grew up on the farm as well and appreciate that sort of side of it. And having kids and what we're bringing kids into in the world and what it looks like going forward. So a really important part of it. There was 2 sides of it. One was around the environment and what we can do to help, and I want to play my part. And then the other side was to try and keep the costs down because we have oil here and we don't have gas, but we have obviously high electricity bills. I try and do a lot around the health and being. So I do have to run things like the chill tub and stuff like that. And we've got the gym and treadmill, things like that. There is a lot of electricity going out. And as much as we try and cut back and turn things off and all of those sorts of things. It is the life that we lead, and it is important to us. It's what do we sacrifice? And that's really the reason why we looked into solar.
Yeah. There's only so much far you can go to cutting down, isn't there? Without
It is.
before you go, sooner or later, we've really got to do something.
Yes, I think that's what we got to. We've got to do something, and now was the topic. And we looked into it a number of years ago when we first moved into the house, and it wasn't as straightforward as it feels like it is now. And this is the time when we're ready.
So many of our customers previously dismissed the idea of solar, 10, 12 years ago, and where it didn't stack up. Thankfully, with the panel technologies now, new batteries now available, the time to re-explore it is now. Energy prices going up. So we're really pleased to be working with you on this project. We're pleased that you chose us. With that in mind, obviously there are thousands of solar companies out there, Sally.
Tell me.
And you've probably been approached by a few of them, but how did you find out about solar panel funding?
It's a tricky one because it is like, where do you start? Where do you go looking? And we've all been involved in cowboy electricians or plumbers or whatever it was. And do you know what it was in the end? We had a massive water leak, and we had an amazing plumber that came and just advised us about we should be looking at solar. And I said something we've looked at, but we're not quite sure where to start.
Yeah.
And they just put us in touch with you guys. And it was about being recommended almost.
Yeah.
That was the thing. I didn't know where to start. How do you just Google those sorts of things or whatever it may be? And it was, for me, it was about having a recommendation.
Sure.
It was having somebody that somebody had worked with.
Yeah.
Be pivotal, wanting attention there. And I think that really helped us.
Yeah.
And I think once I'd got in touch with you guys, and you just reassured us, because I think it is quite a scary thing. You're not quite sure what's involved. Do the figures really add up? Will we save money?
Absolutely.
In the long run? Because we plan to be here for the next 10 years, and that's the way I wanted to.
Yeah.
Does it affect the building, the house, and the cost of the house if we do sell eventually? All of those sorts of things, really. And I think you guys very clearly answered all of our questions that we needed.
Yeah.
And I think also I liked the way, the system that you worked, where you helped us, and it's local companies that come in and do it, and how you, I don't know, you did all the backbone, all the horrible work, all those are the bits that you puts you off.
Yeah.
So I made it very simple.
Good.
And that's what was
Good.
important.
No, I'm pleased to hear that. And I think for a lot of people, the idea of having, we've come to your property today to film this, but for a lot of people, the idea of having somebody come to their property can be quite unnerving. And that's why we're really proud of the way we do things, in that we don't send a salesperson to the home. We do it on Zoom and obviously run through things with you. Can you talk to us about that experience? Could you? Who was it that you spoke to at the company? And And how did you find that experience of actually doing it remotely?
Do you know, I think just having that call with Chris is who I've been dealing with, but you always think of any of these things, someone's going to be knocking on the door, cold calling, and we all go a bit like that, wasn't it? And actually to have, because we hadn't decided on that first call whether it was right, and we're busy people and we haven't got a lot of time. So just to have that initial call with Chris, John was here as well, so both of us could be on that Zoom call, and it was an initial sort of half hour, whatever we wanted, asking our questions, but not having that pushy bit. We were then able to come away and digest it and think about it, because you have to see through all those sorts of things, because I think sometimes you go, okay, but show us the figures. Does this really work? And I think I like that it didn't feel as though I was really being bombarded and pushed to people. Chris wasn't chasing us, but weeks and days later, and we could then from that get the figures. Yes, we shared our electric bills, and that was fine with us, but he was then able to work out what those figures would be. And then I think it didn't feel like it was just numbers that were plugged out of anywhere. It all made sense.
Yes.
And I also like the way that you almost went on the reserve side, worst case scenarios.
Absolutely.
Which I think is really important. And you're not just getting figures thrown at you. And I think that's the piece that I mentioned as well.
It is important for us to under promise and over deliver rather than the other one.
Yeah, I think that everybody does that, and I think that's great.
So with regards to the system that we're going to be installing for you, so we'll be installing one system on the property here and another system on the business.
Yep, yeah,
The down there. When on the initial call they put the proposal together for you, they then sent you a couple of proposals for consideration on that, and then I believe they followed up the call afterwards.
Yes, yeah.
And how did you find that process? Did you find it useful to be able to have that time in between? Would you have liked it followed up quicker? Did you find it?
No, not at all. I think I just needed to get my head around what it was going to look like. And I think that really helped that they had the solar panels look good. It fitted in with where we were. I was a bit reserved about whether we were going to be able to get the system because of where we live. Yeah. We're not far off the Downs, the South Downs. So I got but it's lovely that this is the way that people are thinking now, that was almost the simplest piece. No, I think it just gave us enough time. We didn't want to be pushed like a week later or whatever. It was quick enough because it was a bit like, okay, if you're going to do these things, you get your head down of waiting another year or whatever. So it was quick enough, but it gave us enough time to be able to get our heads around and look at the quotes, look at the figures, see how many solar panels we actually needed. At one point, we were just going to do the house, but then in the gym, we've got treadmills and cross trainers. So it sort of made sense to be able to use it down there and know that we could have a few less sort of panels down there, and that it was going to look great as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think the whole process was really smooth and almost forgotten about in between.
Yeah.
And as soon as we'd got the guarantee from the local area there, and then that was it. It's been amazing. It's been so quick from there, which is incredible.
So when it comes to installing solar panels, there's lots of hoops to jump through with regards to the network operators, in regards to the paperwork side of things. How much of that paperwork have you had to do?
Not a lot.
Fantastic.
Which is very good. Like that, I don't know, but for me, no. And it's not just about handing it all over. We got it explained all the way through, and everybody's been just so nice and friendly. And obviously the chat that came through rounds, we only had one person, mind your tone, that came around and looked at the sites to make sure, did the survey, make sure where we were best to put the batteries and all of those sorts of things. So once I knew that had been done and it could really work, and then we were just waiting for approval almost, then it's just been so smooth all the way through. So and here we are.
Absolutely.
D-Day.
D-Day. It's scaffolding going up. So the panels, I believe, have just arrived.
I know, they're going in the garage. I'm looking forward to seeing those.
Absolutely. So the guys they'll be fitting the roof rails and the panels tomorrow.
Okay.
Going on there tomorrow and Wednesday. And then on Thursday and Friday, it'll be electrician and handover for you as well.
So done in 5 days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll be on the site for you today and tomorrow. And then we'll be back again to do some more filming on Friday as well. Is there anything you'd like to ask us on, Cara, this?
When will we actually, I know we've had the chart of where it looks like over the next 10 years, but is it almost an instant thing after the first month or 6 months? Or
It's better than that.
Yeah. How does that work?
It's better than that. I'll show you.
Okay.
So basically, this is...
Yeah, have I got something that I can look at and get excited
You
about?
can manage your calls on your phone.
Wow.
So basically, you will have a little app like this.
Okay.
So what you'll see here, this is my property here. It's cloudy, 17 degrees out there. That's how much the system is generated already. This is what the system is doing at the moment. So it's generating some electricity off the roof. Some of it has gone back into the batteries, but the batteries are nearly full. Some of it's going into the house. There's a little bit of usage there in the property. And then down here, it tells you exactly what your home is doing. So it tells you how much energy the system is generating. If I turn that off, it shows you the consumption on the property. It shows you how much has been exported to the grid. And this is the bit that I really is
Wow.
the yellow line
Yeah.
is how much I've actually imported from the grid now that the solar has kicked in, and this is the battery usage. So on days like today, where it's not particularly
Well, I know it's windy and blowing a gale.
what will be happening is your system will be looking to the battery first for your electricity,
Okay.
only drawing power from the grid on the little fluctuations here, where in between it's saying, I need power, I don't need power. So
Okay.
no solar system will completely eliminate
No,
your
no, no,
electricity
no.
bill, but it will put a dent on it there.
Brilliant.
So-
That's what we need here. Definitely. I like that. That excites me.
That gives you your day, your month, and then you can put each of them on there. So that you can see where,
Yeah.
which is coming from the solar. And the key thing here is obviously how much can be used on site.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously how much gets exported to the grid as well,
Okay.
because once your system's all commissioned,
Yeah.
you can then start receiving payments for exporting energy. Yeah.
Wow.
So as well as the savings on your energy bills,
Yeah.
you'll actually be being paid for exporting energy.
Okay.
So whether it's free electricity that's being used on site,
Yeah.
or whether or not it's going back in, or whether you're exporting that free electricity, you'll be being paid for what that system generates.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Gosh.
The other thing
Okay.
that you can do as well is through the night times, where most people have a nighttime energy rate on their electricity bills,
Yeah.
between 1 a.m. and 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And having an electric vehicle on the property,
Yeah.
we can actually set the system to draw in energy on cheaper nighttime rates into your batteries for you. Yeah. And a fraction of the cost of what you're buying it at the moment. So your electricity is either going to be free when generated by the
Yeah.
solar, or significantly reduced by drawing in nighttime electricity. It won't be completely eliminated, but it will put a big dent.
Yeah.
So
Brilliant.
I
Excellent.
look forward to
I
doing a
know.
follow-up
See
as well.
Yeah. See what happens.
You'll become a bit of a geek with the app.
I know pretty well.
Absolutely. You're with EDF yourself as well, aren't
Yeah.
you? So I'll show you on my household EDF app, so you can see.
Yeah. That's what I've got.
So you'll see the difference from when it's in.
So you know where they put a limit on mine, what we can sell back to the grid?
Yeah.
Is that quite a low limit?
It's 8 kilowatts a
Yeah.
day is a big amount.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's quite a normal thing
Yeah.
for them to do that.
To give you an idea, depending on the energy tariff that you go on and what you want to do with it, like through the summer months, if you were, say, with Octopus have a tariff which you have to have an EV for it as well, but they have a period in the evening at peak demand between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. when you can sell the electric in the batteries for 37 pence. Look at what you buy it for.
Oh.
Let's say, for instance, that you know that overnight you're going to use 3 or 4 kilowatts. You could tell the battery, you can set a timer on the system. You literally just go into the settings on your app, and then you can tell it to send the electricity to the grid between 4 and 7. And therefore you're getting 37 pence for it, for whatever goes out during those times. So it's,
He did. I know when they came, Chris was saying that we probably use quite a lot here.
yes,
There won't be a lot to be put back.
your consumption here, looking at yours, is quite high.
Yeah.
What I generally say is use it for the first week
Yeah.
and then see how you get on with it. But definitely look at an EV tariff
Yeah.
for the cheaper nighttime electricity, because at the moment, if you're paying 30 something pence, 9 pence is going to be a lot better for you
Okay.
as well.
I'll have a look at that.
Right. I'll show you.
For real. So you're not on that though, you are?
I'm literally now, I'm just waiting for my documentation to come through because we only recently installed mine. But I'll show you here. So this is the electricity consumption. So you can see here. So there we go. That's when it was installed in August. You can see here, this was the actual monetary usage through those months. And then the system was installed in August,
Okay.
and it's back down to,
Well, you haven't done the EV yet, has
so I haven't done my EV
No,
yet
yeah,
because,
it's got
and the
to
reason,
wait.
reason being, I'm just waiting for my documents.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
It does take a while with the documentation side.
Yeah,
of things.
exactly.
But even though you've got
Fine.
your DNO side of things,